Today we're going to be talking about NATO straps. A point of contention with many people because some appreciate them and others don't. I personally, I scorned them for the longest time, but after wearing one, I realized just how incredible this is. I think the real argument is that you can't have something that's so cheap on a watch that's so expensive. So naturally, the big brands like Amigo are bringing out their own versions of NATOs with the seatbelt texture and all the rest, the much higher quality NATOs. These are Gakota NATOs, if I'm saying that right. They're both Bond NATOs, as you might know from looking at these. So, firstly, let's get this out the way. This is closer to the Bond NATO. Many people make the mistake of assuming that this is the Bond NATO. And the story goes that back in the day when the Sean Connery films were out and were popular on video and VHS, the color correction could not show accurately the color that Sean Connery was wearing. So this, after a while, assumedly became the Bond NATO by people who mass manufactured them, and it just got circulated to a point when people just accepted this was the Bond NATO. But only after DVD and high quality videos started appearing did we finally see that this was the proper color that was used, and it's really accurate. I mean, this is as accurate as I've ever seen. I've owned a few of these and this is as close that you can get to the original. Of course, the strap he used was very thin. It wasn't considered a NATO in those days, and it was a one-piece strap. Just some interesting trivia. The joke is that Daniel Craig now uses this in the new Bond film. I'm just going to adjust the camera. Okay, so today I'm going to show you a method of putting on a NATO that's very unconventional, but makes it a lot less obtrusive. I'll say that much. So I'm going to be using this one for the sake of this exercise, and I'm going to be using this watch. This is a Mark & Sons diver. It is a 42mm watch with a 22mm lug width. These spring bars are jumbo spring bars from a Seiko. This is my everyday workhorse. I use this. It's got a ceramic bezel. I use it as a beater in many ways. So I go swimming with this quite often. I actually swim with it every day. So there we go. How do you put on the NATO normally? Well, let's do it. I'm going to try my best to do this. I'm in a bit of a constricted space, so bear with me. Again, this strap itself is extremely good. The quality is excellent, and you're paying a very small price for it. So, to put a NATO on, you feed it through the top and through the underside. I mean, there's enough tutorials explaining to you how to put on a NATO. You put it all the way through, and then you feed this lip through this, and there we go. That is the accepted way of putting a NATO on a watch. Now I'm going to be putting this on my wrist now, and you'll probably find that it's going to look very big because I'm so close to the camera. But trust me, this is 42mm and the NATO is 22. Now what bugged me for the longest time was how, I wouldn't say ugly, but just how in the way this part of the strap gets when it's sticking out like that. It's a nice aesthetic. I mean, it serves its purpose and it shows to people that you are wearing a NATO. But sometimes you might want something a little bit less conspicuous, if that's the right word. So I generally wear it like this if I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt or a jersey. I'm trying to wrap my arm around the stand here. If I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt or a jersey, I'll be wearing the strap like this, mainly because the jersey will then get hooked up onto this and the watch will be a bit more displayed. I'll be able to see the time a lot easier. But on a day when I'm wearing a t-shirt and I don't want this thing looking any bigger than it is, because it is 42mm and I do have a 7¼ inch wrist, I do this. Now watch closely because this might blow your mind. It might or might not. Right, so this is the standard way of looking at it. What you do is you get rid of the underside. The idea of having this underside, by the way, is it's been accepted that it is used to keep the strap on the watch if one of the pins had to come off. Now, as I'll show you in my next example, if one of the pins do come off, I'll actually stick my nail in and get one of these pins off. The watch will still stay on your wrist. So I'll show you this example. So you just remembered what I've just done. You take the lip off, you then slide the watch head down to a point where it's just about to hit the first hole. Okay, so it's now looking more like your conventional watch strap. Just a simple maneuver. Okay, now what you do is you line up these two buckles, you feed the tongue through the two buckles, you then fit it onto your wrist. Notice where you then tuck the strap into. Now you have something that is a lot less shouty, a lot more subtle. And the great thing is that the underside is so comfortable because this is now reinforcing the underside of your wrist. It almost balances it a lot better. So I think I might have either given you one of my greatest secrets on wearing NATO straps, or you know this and I'm just wasting your time. But this is how I generally wear this watch, or any NATO strap, on a daily basis. So yeah, I seriously recommend it. And as I was saying, if one of these pins did have to come out, which I'll show you now, I'll attempt to take one off for you. So you're walking around, and let's say this pin decides it's had enough of you. If you were wearing this thing on your wrist, like I've just said, I was quite impressive that I managed to get that pin out, my thumbnail. I'll tell you, jumbo pins are really good. If you were wearing the watch and the pin had to come out, you would still be wearing this watch and the case would not come off your wrist. It would just flop around. So again, the whole myth of having the double-sided NATO strap, I don't know where that was founded. Maybe it does work in some situations, but it's not entirely necessary. So I'd like you to attempt what I've just shown you if you're interested, and I'd love to hear your feedback. If you found this to be something revolutionary or not, let me know. I seem to have found a lot more followers recently, and I really appreciate you all looking at my videos and listening to me talk about these things. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your NATO.